Hello, parents, grandparents, caregivers, and fellow teachers. In this video, I'm going to give you simple and inexpensive ideas, activities, and conversation starters to enrich your child's reading of The Three Little Pigs. Let's get started. I recently read The Three Little Pigs in my episode of Early Learning Loft introducing children to the letter P. Click the link if you want to check it out. But whether your kids have enjoyed reading The Three Little Pigs with me in my video or snuggled up with you, here are some things you can do to expand their learning around the story. As you know, The Three Little Pigs is about three pigs who each build a house and the wolf who's out to get them. The first two pigs build their houses out of straw and sticks, and it doesn't end too well for them. The third pig builds a sturdy house of bricks which is strong enough to stand up to the wolf. In this first activity, your child will build houses of straw, sticks, and bricks. The point of the activity is to let your child experience the strength of each of the materials. Let's start with the straw and stick houses. Your child's not going to make an actual house. It's more of a teepee. You'll need a pile of straw or dried grass and a collection of sticks. A good way to get straw is to cut off the straw off an old broom. If you don't have a broom that you're willing to cut up, you might be able to find one at a thrift store. I've also put a link in the description below to an inexpensive little broom that you could cut up if you prefer clean straw. For the sticks, you can just collect sticks from outside. In fact, that might be a fun activity for your child. Go outside and collect sticks. For the purposes of this particular teepee and to make them more manageable, you want smaller sticks and probably no more than about 6 inches long. Again, if it's at all helpful, there's a link in the description below to some natural applewood sticks if you'd prefer that. Now you and your child will build a teepee, first with the straw, because that's the first house that was built by the first little pig. So you'll start by getting several pieces of straw and putting them opposite each other and then just leaning them in until they rest against each other. And then just keep adding in more straw to fill in the gaps until you have a teepee. And now for the fun part. Have your child repeat what the wolf says, which is, "I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow the house down," and then let your child blow the house down. Repeat the process with the sticks. Now for the brick house. For the purposes of this activity, you've got a couple options here depending on whether or not you want your house to be edible. If you want an edible brick house, you can use any sort of sturdy square cereal such as frosted mini wheats or spoon-sized shredded wheat or my family's favorite, Barbara's Puffins. We prefer the peanut butter flavor. For a sturdier house that's not edible, I recommend Jenga blocks. If you don't have a Jenga game, I put a link in the description below for a set of colored Jenga blocks that I've used in my classroom before for a variety of educational activities. First, just let your child build the house however he or she wants to. Of course, it's going to be easier with the wood blocks than with the cereal because the wood blocks are sturdier. Then if your child wants to try blowing over the house, he can try. Of course, with nothing to make the blocks stick together, the house should at least move. For the wood blocks, you can show your child that the wolf would be able to push the house over even if blowing isn't strong enough. Now for the fun part. Disclaimer, this could get messy. Explain that builders use mortar to secure bricks together. If you're going for the edible activity, you can use whipped cream or jam to make your bricks stick together. I haven't tried it with jelly, but I suspect that it wouldn't be thick enough, so I would stick with jam, which would go really well with those peanut butter puffins. Just saying. If you're using wooden blocks, shaving cream will be a sturdy mortar. So put your mortar in a bowl and use either a small spreader or a small plastic knife to spread the mortar on the bricks before you stack the next one on top. If you're using a plastic knife, it's a good opportunity to talk to your child about how to use a knife safely. Then let your child build his house. Blowing it over should be much more difficult now, if not impossible. If this is interesting to your child, I've put a link to a video below of a real bricklayer laying mortar and bricks that your child might enjoy. If you are science-minded, you can take this opportunity to take the lesson further. Talk to your child about why the straw and the sticks were easier to blow over than the bricks. You could introduce the concept of density and even then progress to a lesson on why things sink or float. Short on time? Let's face it, sometimes we have all the time in the world for these great long activities, and sometimes we have limited time and we're just trying to get things done. Pro tip today, skip to the end. Just go to step 4, build the brick house with the mortar. Children are still getting tactile learning, they're having fun, and they're getting introduced to some principles of building. Act out the story. This is a great way for your child to demonstrate comprehension. Start by asking your child just to name the characters in the story. This is recall. And then decide who's going to play what. If it's just 2 of you, one of you can be the wolf and one of you can be all of the pigs. If there's more of you, then each person can be a different pig, one person can be the wolf, and if you're reading the James Marshall version, right here, which is the version that I read in my video, there's even more characters. He includes a mother and 3 different men selling the building materials. So there's all kinds of opportunities to add more characters. Next, decide on location. Where is each of the locations going to be? Maybe your whole play is going to be acted out in one room, but maybe you want to use different areas of the house or different areas of the yard. Maybe somebody even wants to incorporate some kind of costume or props. It can be as elaborate or not as you want. If your child is really enthusiastic and wants to make a big production out of this, but you just don't have the time or energy to put that much effort into it right now, but you don't want to stifle that creativity, see if you can compromise on this just being a first rehearsal. First rehearsals are just to kind of lay the groundwork and start to establish how the play is going to go. Future rehearsals or an entire production can happen later when you have more time, maybe even in front of an audience. Again, it can be as elaborate or not as you choose. It's always nice to get outside. In this activity, your child will scout for a building site. If your child were one of the little pigs, where would be the best spot to build a little house? Either on your property or on your block or somewhere in the neighborhood, depending on how long you want your walk to be. Encourage your child to think about the pros and cons of the site that he's considering. Is it flat or easy to build on? Will it get enough sun? Will it get too much sun? Is there a lot of traffic or noise nearby? This is a fun way for your child to use her imagination in a practical way. If you're getting value out of this video, please hit the subscribe button and feel free to share this video with your homeschooling or teacher friends. So my question for you is, has this sparked some ideas for you for some activities that you think would be fun to do or perhaps you've already done surrounding the 3 little pigs? If so, share them in the comments below. I'm going to read a little bit from the James Marshall version of the 3 little pigs. The first little pig met a man with a load of straw. "I know," said the little pig. "I'll buy your straw and build a house." "That's not a good idea," said the man. "Mind your own business, thank you," said the pig. So in other words, the pig didn't want any advice at all. What's one simple question the pig could have asked the man that would have given him a little more useful information? He could have asked why. Ask your child what the man might have said if the pig had simply asked why. You can follow up by asking your child if he thinks that would have made a difference in his decision on whether or not to buy the sticks or straw from the man. Later on in the James Marshall version, after the wolf fails to blow down the 3rd little pig's house of bricks, he schemes to trick the 3rd pig into meeting him in a variety of places. Each time the pig knows to go early and get out of there before the wolf sees him. Ask your child how the pig knows that he should avoid the wolf. This can lead to a discussion about listening to that voice inside you that tells you when you might not be safe. To follow up on this theme, you can read Goldilocks and the 3 Dinosaurs by Mo Willems. I read that in my Early Learning Loft video about the letter G, linked here. What conversations has the 3 little pigs prompted from your child? Let me know in the comments below. I hope this has sparked some fun ideas for enrichment activities surrounding the 3 little pigs. If you would like more enrichment activities for children's literature, click the subscribe button, click that little notification bell, and you'll be the first to know when I post my next video for parents and teachers. Goodbye.